Good morning, everybody. This is day 8 of our Leap to Lead program, and it's the beginning of our second week. So, welcome again to the program if you have just joined us. Anyhow, today I'd like to discuss with you a little bit about having a balance in our businesses. This is something that I've really had to learn a lot. I started 3 years ago, and along the way I've had to make changes in my organisation. I'm actually an organised person by nature. I like things to be in order, but there are times when that does change and get out of order because of a hectic lifestyle. But what I've had to learn is to have a balance with my business and my life. I still have a struggle with this at times, trying to have that balance. Scentsy has always been a passion to me, and so I tend to go on tangents, and I tend to spend a lot of time doing Scentsy stuff and then forgetting about other things that I need to do. Fortunately, there's just my husband and I at the moment because all of our children are grown up and married. So we're on our own, and my husband works quite a bit. So that is why sometimes I get to spend time doing certain things than having a balance. But what I'd like to talk to you about is how we can have a balance. I know that when I do have a balance and I'm completely organised, my home functions well, I get to spend time with my husband, I'm able to do other things in my life, and as well as doing my Scentsy business. So I thought that I'd give you a few ideas. For those that are young mums with families, one of the things that I did when I was had my children and they were younger was having a schedule. I think it's really important to have a schedule. You need to have a daily schedule of some kind, and I've always been a list person. So every day I'd get up and I'd write out a list, and even this morning I did the same thing of the things that I need to achieve. And when I first started doing this, my list was quite long. And then as time went on, I began to realize that I needed to just put down the things that I really needed to prioritize and to achieve that day. So I find by having a list every day, I get to tick off the things that I know that are important that I need to achieve. So that's something that you can do, and especially when you've got little children, like the end of the day when the children are in bed, it's a great time for you to sit down and just think of the things that you have achieved that day, and think of the things that you didn't get done or that you need to do tomorrow. So at the end of every day, I would sit down and write a list out and think, okay, what do I need to achieve tomorrow? Whether it was regard to family, my children, their activities, whatever, and that used to include, I used to even write down, I needed to have a shower and get dressed, and because sometimes you get so busy that you forget to do just the basic things. So I would put that down, and then I would put down, plan my evening meal, organise what I'm going to do. So if you write that list out the night before and you know what you're going to cook the next day, you can take it out of the freezer that night or first thing in the morning to get going, so that you are organised. So that's something that I found that when my children were little, that really helped me heaps. Something else that I always used to do as well is that I would prepare meals ahead of time. When you've got little children, they take a lot of your time, and not always are they sensitive to the times that you need to be preparing a meal. So I used to, when I used to go shopping, I would spend a day and I would prepare a whole bunch of meals. And if you've got children, you have to wait until they're in bed, then do that, and prepare, several meals. Or else what you can do is every time you make a meal, make double the amount. So that's an extra meal that you can just pop in the freezer. And so when you do have a hectic day, you just have to pull that out and it's done. So they're just a few ways that you can do it. Another thing that you can do is to organise your home. Like I'm very pedantic about how my home is, and my children used to complain, and my one son used to say that I was related to Hitler because I was so strict with how they needed to keep their rooms and things like that. So, but if you are not organised in that way, and I know with little children they do make messes, but something that I used to do is that I had one area or one room of the house that my children used to play in. So that's where their toys were, or just, it doesn't have to be a room, it can just be an area where that's where they played and that's where they made their mess, and so it didn't affect the rest of the house. And so when they were little, after they went to bed, I used to tidy it all up so it was clean for the next day. As they got older, I got them to help me clean up every night before they went and had their baths. So that was a routine that I got in with my children, like they'd play to a certain time, whatever time you think is the best. And then I say, okay, it's time to tidy up because it's time to have your bath. And so most times or more times than not, I would have to help them, start by helping clean up their toys, and then they would help me. And that also teaches them responsibility. So that's something that I used to do with my children when they were young. So hopefully that will give you a couple of ideas of, if you are not doing those things, that will help you in trying to be organised, because you can be organised and can run a business and have a business as well. But it is most important to have that balance. So, I think you need to have your home organised and your children organised before you can be organised in your business. Once you've got that under wraps and you can, and you've got a routine happening, because if you get yourself organised, your children will follow suit, and it will help them to become organised and to get into a routine. So once you've done that, then you can start to be organised in your business. However many hours you choose or decide to work on your Scentsy business is entirely up to you. You might only be able to do Scentsy one day a week, but, whatever time you will set aside to work your Scentsy business, you need to have that, in your balanced schedule so that And it's also important to let your family, your husband and your children know that that time is mummy's time or my time, so that I can spend that time and that they can appreciate that that's important to you. So especially your partners, because I think that they need to know that this is important to you, and that that you need their help to allow you to do that. You decide the time and of how much time you put into the Scentsy business, so that you can do what you need to do. Our lives are all different, and we're all hectic, busy, and we all have hectic schedules. But I think the only way that we can feel like we are succeeding in all aspects of our lives is if we have a balanced life. Now, I know that I'm an old duck, or I'm an older person, and my children are grown up, but I've been where you are, and I've had to learn just like you are learning or having to learn. So I think we all go through this. It's a learning curve that we all have to learn when we have children. So anyhow, I've given you a couple of ideas, but what I would like to do, I'm going to give you a challenge. What I want you to do, and this will help you, is I want you to sit down today and write down 5 things on a piece of paper that you want to achieve today. Now you need to prioritize them. Pick the things that you know that you need to achieve. If you've got time, add another couple of ideas or things that you would like to achieve. Just in case you get things done in a good time and you've got some extra time that you can spend time on things. So I want you to do that. Write down 5 things that you want to achieve today, and then I want you to think about what you want to do tomorrow. So if you get an exercise book, that's always a good thing to do. Start having an exercise book just so that you can write down the things that you need to achieve every day, and then you can look back and look at. It's exciting because when you look back, you tick them off as you do them, and when you look back in over a week, you will be amazed at how much you actually have achieved. Oftentimes we get up and we run around all over the place. At the end of the day, we feel like we haven't achieved anything. By making a list and ticking them off as you go, you can see what you've actually achieved. So that's really very self-rewarding. So my challenge to you is to sit down and get a notebook, write down the 5 main things that you would like to achieve today, and if you get those done and you want to add a few more, then that's fine. And I want you to do that every day for a week, just so that you can see just exactly what you're achieving. Now in that, you need to make sure that you slot in, excuse me, my eye is bothering me. In that, you need to include time with your family. So you've got a balance everywhere. You need to have time with your family. You need to have time for yourself. You need to have time to organising your home, which can include making a meal. And so I want you to do that. And then, so if you do that every day for a week, and then I want to you to comment in the comment section that you've done it. But also, if you have any other ideas that you would like to share, because we're all learning, something that you do that keeps you organized and helps you to become organized, that we can all learn from you. So that's my challenge for you today. So it shouldn't take you too long to do that. And if you're not an organized person, this will really help you to get organized. I promise you, it will. So, and if you want to know any more tips about being organized, you can always message me, because I'm very pedantic about things like that. So if I can help you, please let me know. Okay, well, we'll talk to you again tomorrow. Good luck, and I'll see you then. Bye.